Okay, so this is our sort of roundup lightning talks for OzHack 2010. We've had about how many people have we had? About 15 to 20 people coming on.
25. There was 22 here earlier.
Okay, we had 22 people at our Maxwell, which is fantastic. Considering we had 25 sign up. Alright, we're going to start the talks, I guess. Who'd like to go first?
You're up there, so go ahead.
Huh?
You're up there, so go ahead.
I don't have a talk to do because I didn't actually get much code done. So who would... Yeah, Mark Wharton.
Yeah. Okay, so I was working on Hubris, the Ruby Haskell binding, along with Soham Banerjee and Raphael Speyer.
Yep.
Worked on three fairly separate areas. Raphael was looking at the installer. He managed to get the installation process a lot easier. Still. Soham was working on, what was it? He desperately wants to be able to export ad hoc polymorphic functions to Ruby. So, you know, to be able to say, all right, I want to export the function +3, which works on any num, so long as, num of 8. I was quite happy to go with monomorphic, but you know, he's got a bean he's wanted about this, and actually pretty close to making it work, which is kind of cool. We'll have to generate a bit more code, but it looks like it should work soon. And I was working on, what's I working on? Oh yeah, multiple arguments. So pretty soon should be able to pass multiple arguments into the Haskell function from Ruby, and it should just work, which would be nice. What else? Oh yeah, did a bit of work on the quasi-quotation stuff. So instead of pasting together enormous lumps of text using plus and underlines and unwords, which is a really hideous way of writing code, I patched there's also Matt Morrow's library, Haskell source meta. That's up on Hackage now, and the interpolated string library is also up on there using it, so you can use that to do whatever string interpolation you like, just like in Ruby, Perl, Python, all those other modern languages. Not going to get a cat call there? No?
So Haskell is one language you're saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. See, that was the implication. You guys aren't listening anymore. Dynamic typing is not a sin.
There's a reason that got robbed off the board.
Yeah, I know, you cracker bastards. Yeah, so I'd like to say thanks to Alex and I'm for organising it. I had a really awesome time. It's really cool to get together with all you guys and do some code. Who's on next?
Thank you. So who wants to go next? Put your hands up. Yep. Hamish.
Okay, so Jens and Matthew and I were working on Lexa, concentrating on sort of some bug fixes, and also one of the things that a lot of people are asking for are better Emacs and Vim key bindings. So to solve that problem, we've been working on getting Yi support integrated into Lexa, so that we can use Yi in Lexa. And the existing setup for that basically had a hard-coded configuration file, so it would only ever support Vim key bindings. So what we've done is try and load the Yi configuration file for the user, so that whatever their Yi configuration happens to be, whether they've set it up for Emacs or Vim, it will get loaded into Lexa itself. And when they use Yi inside Lexa, all their key bindings and everything will be set up. In order to do that, we've had to set up to use the dynamic, same kind of dynamic recompilation that Yi uses, which is a bit fiddly, but it's basically working out. It's a small issue on OS X, and you can test it on Windows or Linux there. So hopefully the OS X issue shouldn't affect those. So hopefully it should work nicely. We've also sorted out line wrapping. Currently there's Alexa doesn't wrap lines in the editor. A couple of people prefer to have line wrapping rather than horizontal scrolling. So we can look at that. There were a few bugs we also sorted out. One was active pane selection, which is basically when you're doing operations on panes in Alexa, like moving them around or changing the tab location. A couple of the windows don't actually become active. A couple of the panes, I should say, don't become active when you click on them. So we've solved a couple of those problems. And Control Q is now the default for quitting, except on Windows where it's still out before. And finally, we've solved the workspace issue, which has been changed to workspace, which is really good. So, any questions?
Using line wrapping stuff, is that in terms of hard line wrapping or visual line wrapping? Does it look like it's line wrapped, or does it actually go and put an actual new line in there?
It's visual line wrapping. Well, yeah, but if I mean the thing is that if they just disappear off the edge of the screen, you can't see that they're too long. Whereas if they come at the start of the screen, then you can see easily.
So I think you need to get more proof about it. If it goes off the edge of the screen, then you start delivering back to the shops.
Right. Thank you very much, Hamish. Who would like to go next? If you know, yeah, Yvonne. So Yvonne's been working on a new containers package.
So my initial plan for this weekend was to work on graph library stuff and try and actually get some of it done for once. Except that then I had the great idea during the week, I know, on Friday I can first go and hack on some generic container class stuff, and then I'll spend the rest of the weekend on graphs. I'm about 2/3 through the initial draft of the container class thing, but I haven't started on graphs yet. It's only because there's so much boilerplate to get through. You don't actually realise how many list-specific functions there are in the prelude until you have to go and explicitly import prelude hiding them all, and then provide alternate versions of them. And so, yeah, we just released an initial version before we packed up. It's up there, requesting people to comment from the API. So we'll see how that goes. So the whole point of this is, I write a library. I choose, currently, main bugbear with this is a lot of people complain about is FGL. FGL loves lists, but a lot of times you want to use a set for that kind of stuff. So you have to specifically go set.fromList, then passing it back in with set.toList. Wouldn't it be nice if it just said, yeah, I'm going to chuck out some container, you pick what you want. So there's going to be obviously in terms of internal issues of which one you actually want to use, so you have to put more typesigs in, but typesigs are a good thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And so the other slightly less important thing of this is you write some code using this, you realise you're doing too many appends, so maybe you should use a delist rather than having to go and explicitly do a qualified import and change all your code throughout the whole thing. This way you should hopefully just be able to just change what type you're using in the type signature, and most of your code should still work the same way, with better performance of course. So that's what I've got done.
Yeah. Thank you, Yvonne.